So, good evening, mentors and mentees. Wow, this is Chris Calumberan, and we are starting a new podcast tonight. And this is the launch test broadcast, by the way. I did my own short test broadcast a while ago, but it was a bit of a fail because since since it's a test broadcast, we do expect failures right now. We do expect failures. What happened was the audio wasn't working in between the slides. So let me just have this or repeat it in a sense that okay, nothing happened. So let's start again. All right. So we have this new logo that I have created a while ago. Men to mentor. What is men to mentor, man? Um, the concept actually started. Uh, I've been contemplating this a lot, and I've been working on it since because what happened was I've been contemplating on what content I would create, and I wanted to make it more specific, and I wanted to make it more concise and target to an audience that I can really connect with, especially men between 30 to 50 or 30 to 55. Um, it somehow I resonate to them in a sense because we do have a same similar age group. We have in the same similar age group. Why is men to mentor? Why do I call it men to mentor? Basically, um, when I look at it, I'll give you the compelling five compelling facts why mentoring is important. First and foremost, there is 94% of employees say that they stay longer at the company if they were offered opportunities to learn and grow. So that's how important mentees are when it comes to workplaces. 9 out of 10 workers who have career mentors says that they are happy in their jobs. This is true because if you're working in a job and you feel that there you have no growth, it's a bit difficult to be happy, and it's a bit difficult to stay happy in a job. Um, 87 of mentors and mentees feel empowered by their mentoring relationships and develop greater confidence. Obviously, because you get to learn how your mentees work, and you get to learn precious lessons from their mistakes and from their advices. That's why you gain confidence when you are a mentee. Mentees are 5 times more likely to be promoted. Yes, they are indeed, because developing relationships with your mentors creates that kind of bond that a mentor would recommend you to step up or to have that promotion that you always wanted. 84% of CEOs said mentors had helped them to avoid costly mistakes. So you would learn the mistakes of others so that you will not commit that same mistake, and that same mistake might be very expensive or costly for the company for you to make. So that's the thing, the facts came from halorecognition.com. The underlying problem would be is where's that? Okay, here you go. So basically, we find ourselves into this um, situation where the the facts that I just given you are related to workplace scenarios. What if you're a kind of person who have no opportunity to work in a certain entity or institution that doesn't offer these things? Where would you find your own mentor? How do you find your mentor? That's the underlying problem when it comes to mentorship. You can basically have it in it first. It happens in the family. Your mentor basically is your dad, your parents, your elder siblings. And when it comes to life, then you become involved with the community. But what if you're an introvert? What if you are shy to involve yourselves on these activities? You might find it hard to get your own mentor, and it's so difficult to find one, especially if you are a person who is looking for it. You're a kind of person who is looking specifically for a sort of mentor that you can jive with. um Contemplating about this vlog or podcast, I just woke up realizing that I just turned 40. I realized that last week when I just turned 41. So that's how delayed it was. Oh my goodness, good riddance. I just turned 40. So there are some factors that you would immediately what do you call this come to mind, especially since I stopped counting when I was 34. I stopped counting my age when I was 34. So from age 34 till now, whoever asked me, I feel 34. The consequences is, the consequences are, I basically halted, taking care of myself with my health, um, relationships, community, finances, all these things. Either you're basically sloppy on one, but in my case, I am more sloppy in my health because financial status, relationships, I take care of. But since I feel energized, or my or the task or the things that I do make me feel energized doing it, I try to um take for granted my health. I gained a lot of weight, as you can see. But I am working on it right now. And working on it right now compelled me to start this Men to Mentor podcast. And I know for a fact that a lot of our contacts or a lot of our friends would have golden advice or would have a great contribution when it comes to this topic, because I know it for a fact that it's very useful or very not there's not a lot of podcasts or there's not a lot of content that is directed to men, because we men, we compartmentalize and we basically try to keep our feelings aside, and we try to like focus on task in hand. And most of the time task in hand makes us basically take for granted some of the important things that we could have or should have been focusing on. It can be your relationships, it can be your status in the community, it can be the financial, it can be your health, very important. And it is quite difficult in a sense because if we take for granted some one of the points there, we are losing a lot of you know value in not only in ourselves but the value that we give away, because I know for a fact that we need to really take care of ourselves in order for us to share ourselves to other people or to the community. Just give me 2 seconds. I have basically turned off the AC. So I turned on the AC again because I was doing the test. Then after seeing it, half of the audio is gone because whenever I shift to, anyway, it doesn't matter. We are here right now and we are discussing Men to Mentor podcast. And about it, about it is, one day I woke up as 40. What am I doing to my health? What are my relationship status, not only with my family but with the community and your loved ones. um what are you doing in your life? What are you doing with your life? Whenever you hear an age, or whenever you hear even just a number, immediately what you would think of, what was I doing that time, what was I doing when I was 24, 25, these things. And it's really rattling in a sense that uh time just flies by. A decade is just that. And I've been living in Dubai for almost 2 decades now, and it felt only since yesterday. It only felt like it was yesterday. So what are the lessons? What are the underlying issues, and what can we do about it? For me, I think the the truth being, doing this podcast is not just about sharing experiences or sharing mistakes and talking about things, ideas, but also persuading you guys to experience it yourself. I remember, a saying, Theodore Roosevelt says, you need to learn from the mistakes of others because your lifetime is not enough to learn mistakes by yourself. That is true. But please don't stop yourself from learning it by yourself and accepting, or being some uh, being courageous in a sense that don't be afraid in making mistakes, especially when you are still young. We still have that space of error, the margin of error, as they said. It's very important in a sense. you know um but how are we? I mean, how is everything? What's new? Let's discuss that. Where is my mouse? Okay, there you go. So I discussed this, and I'll just take this opportunity to give you an update. Where am I in my career, and where am I in my life, and what happened in the course of uh, stopping the Photog's life. I mean, halting, or delaying the Photog life podcast. Um, I shifted from LLC to FZE. Now I'm LLC. What am I talking about? FZE, LLC, LOL. My friends are commenting like this. FZE basically is an entity, a free zone entity from free zone. A free zone is basically when you are free zone, you are a 100% sole proprietor of the business. You are your own business owner. But the issue about it is, you're not supposed or not allowed to work with Dubai mainland companies. But then again, you need to have an agency that would support you so that you can operate in the Dubai land. Technically, that's the case. Um, what's the difference between FZE and LLC? Um, when you say LLC, it's a limited liability company. You can be either by yourself, or you can also invite other people to buy shares from your company. You can be just a sole proprietor, or you can have one, two, or more owners in your company. You need to, like, you will be able to write it down on paper that you're not that you have partners in the company. In the FZE realm, in the FZE status, you can also do that, but you will become FZE LLC, FZ LLC, something like this. But really, in the end, it doesn't matter. It just LLC just sounds proper because most of the Dubai land companies, or the inland, they say UAE inland companies, they are mostly LLC, not FZE, and that becomes, it raises your status instantly. That's why I was proud to announce that I Chris Calumberan LLC from FZE. So that's the reason. I also have shifted free zone. I shifted free zones. Shifting free zones meaning to say, there are different free zones from different Emirates. Before I was in Fujairah free zone. Now I shifted to Sharjah free zone, which is the Shams. It's more cheaper. It's more economical in a way because they offer um, a really good pricing when it comes to having your company, what you call the sponsor yourself for visa, 3-year visa, which is really good. And shifting it wasn't really a big deal because I am working with a provider that provides both. So technically, if you're going to shift to another free zone, you need to close down the other free zone, the other company that you have, and it costs like around 6,000 dirhams. But since I am working with the same uh, provider, they have waived 2,500 out of that 6,500. So I only paid 4,000 dirhams to close down the old company. I haven't closed it down because the expiration of my FZE trade license is on September. I basically need that so that I can get a permission to work on Ras Al Khaimah, another emirate, to work on the Ras Al Khaimah free zone, Ras Al Khaimah ports, so that I can get my permit to shoot there. That's one of the gig that I am doing right now. I've been working in and out Ras Al Khaimah. I've been working in and out Abu Dhabi, and it was an adventure. And it was really fortunate that even during the pandemic, I am busy with a different niche. The industrial photography. The third topic would be a bit heavy in my heart because recently my dad just passed away. His name is Melquiades Calumberan, and Melquiades D. Calumberan, the second junior. I've been in the grieving process for a long time, and I'm still working on it. My mom also got positive, and she's okay now. She had her first dose, and she's a strong woman, and my dad basically just took from August 4, got infected, and he passed away August 12. That's how quick it is, and you would never really understand or what do you call this, comprehend that if it happens once it happens to your loved one. Because I noticed that Facebook is desensitizing us uh, indirectly, because if a friend of yours just post a candle in their profile picture, everybody says condolence, but how long? Because you have friends, and your other friends will have their loved ones perish, or obviously you give respects, but it happens really frequent, and we get desensitized, and it's unfair in a sense that you once you get desensitized happening this, it will wreck you when it happens to you and your loved one. You know, it will destroy you somehow. You know, it's gonna be a difficult, it's gonna be challenging. Still, I am in the grieving process, and I'm trying to manage because I'm keeping myself busy. Sooner or later, I really need to like grieve seriously so that I can release all these negative feelings. But in a sense, I am happy that suffering is ended, has ended. My mom sacrifices taking care of my dad, uh, has been lifted, and he is closer than us, closer in me, uh, than before. You know, because I know for a fact that he's watching over me, and he's closer than me before, even when he was alive. You know, he has that. He's a guardian angel now. He's my guardian angel now. So I know for a fact that he's with me all the time. Speaking of which, COVID status. COVID status, I'll show you my scores. Yeah, so basically there is this. Let me shift my monitor. Right, so there is an app called Al Hassan here in UAE where you show this. It updates automatically, especially when you're. It's very useful when you're crossing borders to the capital, Abu Dhabi. So right now, this is my profile. It says I've been vaccinated since July 1st, 2021. Um, yeah, so 3 days negative PCR. I did my last PCR August 18 because I've been working in Abu Dhabi with the CEO of ADNOC, and um, yeah, it's a regular thing. I've been working with a production company for this, and whenever they have a meeting, they will summon me, and I will go there, for an hour or two, and cover the meeting. Sometimes it gets a little bit overtime, unexpected, but what the hell? I mean, it's still work. And it also indicates here that I have my first dosage and second dosage of Sinopharm. And then, if on and on, if you do the third dose, and if you try the Pfizer, they will update your system on a database that is unified in all health centers, whatever you do. And also, in addition, I have a good 9 PCRs that are all negative, thank God. Um, the good thing about here in UAE is like we are not that crowded. Even if you live in a building for how many years, you still wouldn't know who your next door neighbor would be. I didn't know it will be that imperative, in a sense that um, you are being protected by not knowing your next door neighbor because you are not close to each other. I'm sure you know what I mean. But for those who doesn't know, for those who doesn't couldn't um, understand, uh, since Dubai is a pot of different nationalities, there is a big chance that next door neighbor would not be Filipino, definitely. And and they are, most of the time, people of different descents are more conservative and wouldn't really mingle to people who is not the same race, especially kids. They only meet in schools. This is how it works. And somehow it's effective because you are not being, what do you call this, visit, because compared in Philippines, if you know someone, if you are living in this neighborhood, all the people in your neighborhood would know you and would dealt with you closely and physically, every now and then. So when you go out, you say hello, you say this and that. But here, it's a bit people, you know, they respect privacy. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So that's the thing, you know. So where are we? What else is there? Right. So going back to the podcast, you know, here's the thing. I was in a hurry, not in a hurry because I'm kind of like how should I say it? I was very excited having the concept in head by since yesterday only. I started creating the logo a few hours ago and I got the logo approved by, two designer friends. And I said even though it's not the perfect logo, I would still go because I'm sure there would be still room for improvement. And I thought of mentor, but men to mentor. So the wifey's idea is to put a light bulb above the R instead of the male logo because it's gonna be over sexual because it's meant to men. But I deliberately did that so that there will be, a catchphrase. It's gonna be like intriguing in a sense, but basically men to mentor is looking for men to mentor, is looking for men to share ideas with, to share experiences with. And and in the course of time, I would invite different people from all walks of life, that people who are experts in their field, that they can talk about things about their field and their experiences and how they reach it and how mentoring and how, how they do um, what they do and why are they successful, how they become successful in their fields. We will try to break down the process on what do they do so that we can learn by them mentoring us. It's not only me who is the mentor, but also the guests will be the mentors, and I'm really excited about it. And I really, really happy and thank you for your time. And I guess we can wrap this up. It's 30 minutes exactly. And yeah, for those who are really excited or for those who are interested in joining us, men to mentor, I urge you to drop me an email. It's chriscalumbiran@gmail.com, or just send me a PM here on my on Facebook. This will be available also on YouTube, and I will try to like have it all across whatever platform there would be. Uh, Again, this is a trial and error because I've been doing trial and errors since the Best You podcast. I had the Best You podcast, I have the Photogs Live podcast, and I started my Motorcycle Diaries podcast. I think this men to mentor podcast will envelop envelop everything, each and all the podcasts, and then this will be like the grounds for the combinations of things that I've learned from the past. I remember back in the day that I just started podcasting just to or vlogging to learn how to create film. Now we are trying to learn how to set up the podcast. I have already invested a lot when it comes to podcast materials. So podcast materials meaning to say podcast equipment. So to be able to speak with people in all walks of life and all in different industries, that can help us enhance our knowledge when it comes to different things. I don't want to be too vague or too wide. I wanted to have some sort of an organized topics that people in the future can use for reference. especially men, especially Filipino men between 35 and 55, or whatever age you may be. If you find this really useful, please drop a like, visit our YouTube channel, and become a subscriber. What I will do is still trying to like get some support from from my Facebook friends, because I am more active on Facebook than in YouTube. But what I'll do is going to slowly shift to YouTube, so that I would be able to maximize that platform that I have, for others to reach me as well. So there you have it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for listening, and I really appreciate you guys. So, Men to Mentor, please subscribe, and there you go. Thank you. Thank you, and good night. Cheers.